Hello Stampers, my name is Linda Bedinger and I'm an independent Stampin' Up! Demonstrator. And today I'd like to show you how I made this card. This card came about as the result of a challenge that I'm participating in this time with my downline team, and we are having a layout challenge. And so this was the layout that everybody's going to try and match. You use your imagination to come up with some different kinds of things and ways to do it. You try to come up with your own interpretation, and this was my interpretation of this. And so that's what I thought I would share with you today. And I've been dying to use this stamp from this lovely stamp set, which is the Dandelion Wishes. And so here it is, Dandelion Wishes. And I'm using this stamp here and this stamp. And then my sentiment is coming from, right now I can't remember, but I'll put it on the screen for you. And it says, just a note to let you know I'm thinking of you. And so what we need to make this, I used Thick Whisper White, and I cut this 4 1/4 by 11 and scored it at 5 1/2. And there we go. There's our card base all ready to go. Then you need several pieces. I have a piece of black that is cut 4 1/8 by 5 3/8. Then a piece of white to go over it to matte here with the black, and it is 4 inches by 5 1/4. And then I have, let's see, I have this piece of white that is 2 inches by 3 inches, and so this mat for it is 2 1/8 by 3 1/8. And then I have this piece of black that is 4 1/8 by 3 1/8. Then I have, let's see, this designer series paper that is, that's what's wrong here. This designer series paper, which is 3 inches by 4 inches, that mats on this piece of black that is 3 1/8 by 4 1/8. And so the card's going to go together like this, like this. Then I need a piece of black, and this is 1 1/8 by 4 inches, and this is 1 inch by 3 3/8, and that will mat here to make my tag. All right, and so let's just get started with this project. It looks complex, and it's really very simple. There's just a little bit of sponging that I'm going to do on this. So let me grab my piece of scratch paper, and I'm using this DSP, and I thought that the sponging would look good with the So Saffron, and so that's what I used. I suppose you could go Grapefruit Grove as well, but the So Saffron seemed right to me. So I'm going to put a little sponging on this piece, and on this large white piece. So I'm going to do my sponging and then my stamping, and then we will put this together. Now, when you're sponging on cardstock, it's real easy to get heavy marks on your cardstock. And what I found, and you've seen people do this on YouTube, so I'm sponging here. I've just put a little bit of the So Saffron on my sponge, and I'm going to start off of the card. So that way, if I've got any blotchiness, it's going to happen here and not on your card. And I'm just going to put a circular motion and then come on to my card. And so you start to see how nice and smooth and even that is. You get a little dark edge around the edges, and that's actually something that I want. So again, you start off the card and come on, and if you work in circular motions, I think you're going to find that you'll be really happy with the sponging. And I've done it before when it's been real streaky, and it took me a long time to figure out that if I just start my sponging in circular motions off the piece of paper first, then I've got a very, very good chance of getting a nice blended look. And I don't want this to be 100% even on this. I'm perfectly content that this has got a little places on it that are a little darker and some that are a little bit lighter. And on this piece, what we're going to end up with is all of this material will cover mostly the front of this, so it doesn't need an awful lot of sponging, but just little bits here and there. Okay, same thing on these other pieces. And again, I don't want this to be completely covered. So again, starting off the front, and I'm going to leave a little bit in the center, a little bit lighter, and really have most of my color around the edges. And just that simply. And I'm going to go ahead and sponge a bit around the edges on this. And I'm also going to sponge this piece. And again, now those are all nice and even and not got a lot of intense color, and certainly no blotchiness. And like I said, if I can save you the trouble of getting some of that splotchiness off of yours, then just remember to start with your sponging off of the piece that you want and just slowly come on to the piece that you want, and you won't have a lot of splotchiness. So there are our pieces. Now I've got to do a little bit of stamping, and all of the stamps that I'm going to use are red rubber, so I don't need my pierce mat to get this put together. And there's the 3 stamps that I have. Oh, I have one more little bit of stamping to do. Let's see, on my card base right here, I did a little bit of sponging right down here in this corner, because that's where I was going to put my decoration of the little bit more of the dandelions down here. So that's it for that. So I can put this away now and bring out my Memento ink and do my stamping. So on this piece here, I want to do my stamping so that I'll know exactly where I want to put my my card pieces. And so I'm going to make sure that I've got this good and inked up, and I'm going to set this down right here on the bottom of my card and let it sit for a minute and let some of that ink soak through. And there we go. Just a note to let you know I'm thinking of you. And then on this piece, I'm going to stamp the dandelion with the little seedlings blowing away. So I'm just going to make sure I've got plenty of ink coverage on there. And you have to decide how you want your dandelion. And I kind of liked the stem sort of tilted this way so that I could see an awful lot of those little pieces as they look like they were blowing away. So I will set that down. It's kind kind of a big stamp, so you want to make sure that you've got good pressure all the way along on this. And there we go. Nice image. All right. There we go. And then the last thing I did was use this little stamp here that had the little seedlings, and just to come down this little piece here. And this just fits. Make sure you're inked up all the way. And I found that this just fit on this 1-inch strip. And the only thing here is make sure you get pressure on all of the little pieces. And it worked to just put this image one right after another right down this piece and pick up those last pieces. There we go. All right. So I'm going to put my, oh, nope, got one more thing to stamp. As long as I'm stamping, I might as well get the interior. And if you were going to do the envelope, this would be a fun one to get this put on your envelope, either the front or the back. So I'm going to ink this up again. And you can see here, I just put a little image right down here in the corner. So here we go. Right down here. And again, just lots of good even pressure. Careful not to rock. And there we go. All right, now I think that's all of the stamping done. All right, we are just about ready to put this card together. So all we're going to do is do our matting here. There we go. I just realized that I stamped the wrong thing. Okay, so I think we're just about ready to put this piece together. So I noticed I just changed the blade on my trimmer because I was starting to get a little pieces off of my trimmer that looked like they needed a haircut. So I'm going to add some snail, and I'm going to lay everything flat on this card except this final piece, which I'm putting up on dimensionals. So I'm going to lay down my pieces in succession here, and I'm going to start with my black piece, and it should have a very small border around the outside of the card. And that piece is followed by this piece that we stamped. And again, just using my snail here to put this piece. There's something about things that are framed in black. It just causes them to jump off the page, which is so nice. Let me get this piece out of the way now. I don't need it anymore. And so now I'm going to mat down my piece of designer series paper. This paper comes from that suite that was the Do What You Love suite that was early release before the catalog came out this year. And it's got that beautiful pearlized material on it. So I'm going to mat this little piece of designer series paper, and obviously you could change up the colors, use Petal Promenade and some other kinds of things to do this. And so then I'm going to continue to just mat these pieces. On this one, what I'm going to do is put these two pieces flush here along the bottom, but centered on the bottom of here, and I am going to fishtail these two together. I've shown this before in videos, but it's kind of a neat little thing that if you do your fishtailing on a banner, where you do the top layer and the bottom layer together, then you will have perfectly symmetrical fishtails. So I'll show you exactly what I mean here. By fishtailing those together, and then you slide the top one up and you get perfectly symmetrical fishtails on the bottom. So that's what that's all about. So now I'm going to go ahead and layer these two pieces together. There we go. And so on this one, I'm going to lay this one down first. So again, some snail. So really, while it looks a little on the complicated side, even with the stamping, this takes almost no time to do. So what I did was just left a tiny little border on the top side of this thing showing here, and then put this tag into place. Then this piece gets layered here, and what I decided to do was, when I put my stamp down here, these two sides here are going to have the same margin, and that's how I laid this down, so that it would look like it was that was my intention. So again, here, and this border, and this border appear to be roughly the same. So if you lay this down so that you've got that kind of border, then it also leaves you here at the bottom with your sentiment showing on the bottom, and it helps you pull these pieces together. So there we go. There's that piece. Then we have this piece left to put on. So I'm going to mat these two pieces. Like this. And then this piece is going to go up on dimensionals. And this piece I just centered on this piece. Then, so I'm pretty well matching my layout challenge, and this is the part. Now I used these larger gems here, but frankly they don't do anything for me there. So I think what I'm going to do is use a little bit smaller ones and put them here on the card itself. Oops, that one lost its glue. So there is my interpretation of that layout. And you'll see that this layout actually had this piece going further across and this further in. But this was my interpretation of it. So that is the project for today, and I think I will start adding to the rotation working with a layout challenge, and so every now and then we'll have one where we're dealing with a layout challenge and seeing how we might interpret it to make something that's kind of fun. So that is the project for today. Thank you so much for stopping by my YouTube channel today. I do so appreciate it. And if you don't already have a Stampin' Up! Demonstrator, I would love to be your demonstrator, or you could join my team. There's details below with my telephone number. If you're ever interested in joining, please give me a call. I'm happy to discuss it with you. There's really very little that's actually required, and there's an opportunity to, at the very least, to get a discount on your Stampin' Up! Materials. So let's see, the prize draw for this time around is the Tropical Chic bundle, which is the stamp set and a die set. There is an opportunity if you sign up by August 11th for Paper Pumpkin, you get your first kit at half off. So if you thought about doing that, that's a great way to start. And so I will be back soon with more cards and more projects. Bye.